welcome to Living the Next Chapter. Today I have Allison Sutter on. She is an author, and she's here to share her journey of writing a book and share even more about how she can help you in your life. And I could explain this all to you, but I'd rather just let Allison share. So this is from her Amazon page. It's a little clip where Allison introduces what the book is about and who she is. So instead of listening to my wonderful voice, how about we listen to Allison herself? Here she is on Living the Next Chapter. Allison, take it away.
Hi, I'm Allison, author of Accelerate Your Mojo, 7 Simple Steps to Ignite Intuition, Shake Off Fear, and Unleash the Real You. Have you ever felt like you're doomed to repeat the past, or maybe even just destined to live a life of suffering and struggle? The good news is, an abundant, happy life is not reserved for a select few. A new idea has surfaced in personal development which states, the only help you truly need is help from your total self. A masterful blend of logic and spirituality, Accelerate Your Mojo reveals the true purpose behind emotion, offers a powerful formula to fully realize your dreams, and teaches you how to openly embrace problems and challenges. This practical, easy to follow 7-step formula allows abundance and joy to be your most chronic state of being. Together, you and I will master the art of well-being as we learn to construct our realities in ways far better than we ever could have imagined. Join me as we journey together through a magnificent life experience, learning, loving, and being the splendor that is truly us.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Living the Next Chapter. I have an author with me today with multiple books, and Allison Sutter's here today. And Sutter or Sutter? Which one do you prefer, Allison?
Sutter. Well, Sutter. It's Sutter because it's like butter. But
Sutter like butter. Perfect. Allison Sutter is here. We appreciate you being with us today. Allison has, like I mentioned, several books, and we're going to get into talking a little bit about your intuition today. Ooh, I'm excited about this. It sounds, wow, pause for effect. Sounds like it's going to be a fun conversation. Hi, Allison. How are you?
I'm great. I'm glad to be here.
You said you're in Chicago?
Right? I am. I'm north of Chicago. Yeah.
So, okay, I have a question. Do people in Chicago, do they have accents?
Do they have what?
Do they have an accent in Chicago?
Well, no, everyone else has an accent.
Everyone else does. Yeah. Because Canadians, we don't have an accent at all. Zero.
None.
No,
right. None. Well, there is a difference between Michigan and Illinois. And if you're from the area, you can tell.
So, okay. So when people talk about their football team there, how do they describe their football team? Do they actually say the word "da Bears"? Is that "da Bears"? Well, is that how they say it?
Yes, but that's sort of mockery. But
is that mockery? Okay, all right. Because I hear
I don't follow football, but I think that was based on a Saturday Night Live skit. Da Bears.
Da Bears. Da Bears. Yeah. That was awesome. So yeah, that's where I was kind of headed. I'm like, because they always seem to make fun of everyone, including Canadians, which is. I guess people love making fun of us as well. So anyways, like I said, we have no accent. So this is a completely accent-free podcast episode brought to you by the Bears, not the Bears. So great, Allison. I'm not a football fan either, so I have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, let's get on with something else. Okay? Let's just move past that. We'll edit all this out. No one will even know we did this. All right. So Allison, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about kind of your journey as an author. Let's hear about this.
So about me, I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for over 25 years. I started out in kindergarten, elementary education, and then eventually moved into the self-help, personal development world, spiritual mentor type of thing. My journey as a writer started later. I was not a kid who enjoyed reading or writing or anything. And then there was a fast forward to a period of time where my mom was actually dying of cancer. And I said something to her that sounded super important, which was, someday I'll write a book. Because at that point I was 20 and I was like, I just need to say something impressive. Right. Said I'll write a book. Fast forward again into my 40s, and I've written several books, but I didn't actually think about that memory until later on. I was like, oh yeah, I actually said I was going to do this. And then kind of got interested in reading because my oldest daughter, who's now 20, was a prolific reader. We used to go to the library when they were little and just fill up bags and bags, 50 books at a time, and just throw them on the floor and I'll just go through them. Right. And then, it stuck. They're all really, really good readers and writers. And, from there, I got into being very enthusiastic about supporting her, but also realizing that, I like reading, I like writing. So how can I do that in my own way?
Yeah, I kind of relate with that too. I'm not a huge reader. I have a hard time finding silence and concentrating, and I'll be like halfway through a chapter. I'm like, what did I just read? I had to go do it again. So I love Audible books because, again, I'm on the move and blah, blah, blah. But I'm just finding that having a podcast and talking to authors, the depth of knowledge and the things that you can learn, I guess I think it was by Stephen King said something about books are like portable magic. And I'm like, wow, that you can have this piece and it can take you somewhere, or it can teach you something or open your mind to something. And it's amazing what the power of books can do. So I feel like a late bloomer to the whole author space and reading and everything, but I'm trying to catch up as quick as possible. So it's kind of neat to see how powerful a book can be. And I'm glad to kind of hear your journey took you from a comment to your mother to where you are today. That's great. Good to see.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Good fun.
Okay. So you've written several books and there's one coming, which is great as well. The one we're going to talk about today is Accelerate Your Mojo, 7 simple steps to ignite intuition. I'm reading. See that? Shake off fear and unleash the real you. So I have some questions about intuition for the expert here today.
Ask away.
I am not the expert and you are. So now here I go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So how do you know that you are listening to your intuition? How do you actually know if you're doing it?
Well, that's one of the things that I engage with people. The first step is, what is your definition, right?
Okay.
So some people have no definition. There's no relationship with the word. They haven't actually thought about it. They haven't heard it mentioned very much. Some people have a relationship with the word that means a gut feeling. And then you can fast forward to people that are operating on all different senses, like clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, everyone's somewhere on the spectrum. Everybody is intuitive. There is nobody who is a human being who isn't intuitive. Okay. It's only a matter of what relationship they want with that concept and that word. So they'll know when they know. They have to start their journey somewhere. And I usually invite them to say, well, what is your definition of it? Is it something that happens only when you're in a car accident and you need a miracle and you hear these voices, get up, get out, and you move? Is it something that you can use to determine what your next best step is in your business, with your health, with your personal life? Like, everybody's on a different journey. So we usually just try to ascertain where the person is first, and then we go from where they are.
Okay. So is it difficult to have a basic definition of intuition then?
No, because everyone has a different one. Mine started out as nothing really. I'm like, I don't know. Then it moved to something that was like a gut feeling or kind of a spooky knowing of something, all the way to now I'm very esoteric with my definition. It's actually an interface or a portal where non-physical consciousness, like your spirit guides, your soul teams, your higher self uses, and by interface, I mean the same way your phone is an interface, because when you talk to someone, you're not actually hearing their voice, you're hearing a digital rendition of their voice. True. It's an interface. Exactly. This computer is an interface, right? Yeah. So it's an interface that allows non-physical consciousness and information to come through me in ways that I have become proficient in. which is it's more than just a gut feeling. I know when ideas as a writer are intuitive. I know when ideas as a course creator are intuitive versus just my own everyday mundane thoughts. I've trained myself to become proficient in recognizing the difference between, thoughts about the grass outside that I'm thinking about and an intuitively guided thought. So it's just training. It's just practice.
So you wrote a children's book as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that children have more or less intuition or tap into it more or less than adults do?
So again, everyone's 100% intuitive. The thing is, it's only a matter of how much you are inclined to listen to it. I used to teach kindergarten, preschool, had my own kids. Everyone is born into a heightened intuitive state, meaning like when you watch a kid play, they gravitate toward everything that is fun and exciting for them. They don't spend any longer than they need to. They want literally nothing to do with the adults or like, be quiet. I don't need your advice. I have an inner guidance system. I'm going to follow it. I'm going to eat when I want to eat. I'm going to sleep when I want to sleep. I'm going to play when I want to play. Then they go to school and you get indoctrinated in the model of teacher have answer, student get answer from teacher, teacher grade student. And you get talked out of believing that you have the best guidance system for yourself. And then you go through that for 12, 14, 16 years, whatever you do. And you do this thing called doubt yourself. And so it's only a matter in all that time that you were being trained out of it, it was functioning 100%. And it was probably coming through in times and situations where you just didn't know how to label it. For example, writers are really good at following their intuition because it's legitimized, right? If you get an idea as a fiction writer, no one says to you, "Oh, that can't be possible. How could a character speak to you and guide you and tell you how the story wants to go?" Everyone goes, "That's so awesome. That's so cool." Right? But It's usually an intuitive guidance. It's some kind of imaginative realm that is guiding the process. And because it's legitimized, you freely do it. You freely let the process happen. Musicians, artists, there are many industries. And even now we're beginning to realize how the buckets of science, medicine, and these other buckets that we seem to have walled off of this word intuition are actually intuitively guided. Nikola Tesla, energy, intuitively guided, so it's just a matter of where you want to put the discussion and how you want to talk about it. But
yeah, I heard an interview recently. Somebody was talking about Keith Richards from Rolling Stones, and they're in the studio, and all of a sudden he's like, whoa, just a second. It's coming. And it's like everybody stops and they're looking at him, and he's like, just a minute. Strum. There it is. Right. And it just came from nowhere. Like he just like tapped into something and everyone else is oblivious, but he's like, wait a minute, everybody be quiet, and he just had this moment where boom, something happens. Right.
Right. If you watch the Beatles too, the Beatles documentary, my husband watches it and he's like, "That's so cool. I don't get it." And I'm like, "I totally get it. I can explain it to you if you want to know. But I mean, to me, I totally understand how that happens because I've studied it. There are institutes like the Noetic Institute, and there are other scientific institutes that study frequency, translation of frequency, how it interacts with the brain and the mind, how it comes through the body. So we're beginning to see and be able to track what changes and shifts energetically in the body when someone is in a more intuitive state. So,
yeah, so I'm a musician, so I've seen that happen, like on stage or in a studio or in a practice, and it seems to be almost relegated to that environment, but not in daily life or in business or with my family. There seems to be a separation between the two where
that's because you've given your
right?
Yeah, but that's just all your definition. Your definition is intuition is okay in music, but I'm not going to use it in these others because it's not legitimized or it's not easy to access or whatever your definition is, which is why we start with definition, because people realize that their definition is actually inhibiting this skill that they're proficient in. Because if you're proficient in music, you're actually proficient in another topic. Your proficiency doesn't decline. It's just your focus declines. Like your trust in self declines, but not your actual proficiency. So,
or you're just unaware that you can adapt it in other areas.
Yeah, it's just
that might be my look at it, where I would love to be able to tap into it more, but I haven't really bridged what happened musically in my life to what is physically going on right now.
Yeah.
And I don't see the correlation until talking to you.
Usually what I tell people to do is follow the feeling. Because if you know what it feels like in a music sense to tap into that, you know what the sensation feels like. You just have to become really sensitized to what it feels like and then pay attention in these other categories because it's coming through. You're just not connecting the dots.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, that's good. Okay. Another one. Is there a basic intuition that, like we talked about earlier, but is there like a basic intuition and then advanced levels of intuition, or is it just how you're applying it and living your intuition?
Again, everyone's 100%. Like if you're a bucket, you're 100% full.
Okay.
It's only a matter of how to you as an individual are interested in, passionate about, care to engage and become, quote unquote, more masterful, you're 100%. It's just some people just have no interest in that aspect of being a human being and others do. And the degree to which your interest is there, your passion, your joy, your curiosity is really the degree to which, you are leveled, I guess, for lack of a better word, because the people that are interested in it seem to have a higher level of proficiency just because they spend more time thinking about it, more time connecting the dots. And it's never about one person having less than another. Everyone has 100%.
Okay. So is there a difference between imagination and intuition?
So in my mind, in my world, imagination is just another portal that can be utilized by the imagination because it's a realm that exists in the inner environment that everyone has. And we engage in different ways, whether you actually see pictures or you hear sounds or you feel resonance within the body. That's all in the imaginative realm to me, no matter how it manifests. But this concept of intuition being something for me, my definition is being led by a benevolent source, whether that's, again, higher self, God, soul teams, whatever people want to call those aspects of it. But it's connected directly to that. And it can utilize the imagination because we have ideas that are intuitive, right? And ideas come through the imagination, or we have tones that ring as musicians, or sounds that we hear, or colors that we see. With the children's books that I wrote, the ideas came fully. They came fully composed. And I actually sort of saw them and then I wrote them, and had them illustrated. Other times I've had ideas, like the most recent book that I had, I could tell that I hit upon an idea that was so awesome to me that it then unfolded itself. It didn't come fully formed. It sort of, I felt it unfurl over time and space. So, everything is possible through the imaginative realm, and it doesn't have to be fully formed. It can be just hitting upon an idea, a word, a sound, a texture, a taste, a smell. And then, your journey will start from there with that idea.
Okay. So I don't know if I mentioned this to you when we talked originally, but there's been times where, like, I have a weird sleep schedule where I work all night and I'm sleep during the day. So I wake up around 9 p.m. to get ready to go to work. And I'll wake up from like I'm completely asleep and deep sleep. I'll wake up and I'll put my feet over the side of the bed and I will have a completely formed plan for the next thing in my life, the next task, A, B, C, all the way to Z. Is everything's done. I have the name. I have how it's going to be done, when it's going to be done, everything. It's more of just a go do it. And it's like this weird feeling where I'm looking around like, okay, like I wasn't even thinking about this when I went to bed at all. It wasn't even a thought in my mind. I've never even thought about this ever that I can think of. And now I have this complete plan on what I need to do next. And to be quite honest, it's a little bit annoying because I don't get the chance to build it. It's already built. It's like, Dave, go do this. And I'm like, come on, like, can't I have fun creating this? Like, why am I just acting on this? Why am I just being given this complete package, all with a nice little bow, all done? Here you go do this. And it's the weirdest feeling ever. So am I tapping into something that by in that situation?
Yes. I mean, we're asking for things that we're not always aware of because we're asking in bits and pieces. We're asking for whatever you felt was fully formed. You were actually asking for it in bits and pieces without maybe even connecting the dots to it. But when we're in a sleep state, we're in our least resistant state. We're actually non-resistant to all the things that we would like to experience and have. So when you wake up, you have conditioned yourself to receive all the things that you have no resistance to. And so they come in. And the fun part is, I bet you if you looked back, it's not exactly how, you don't know how you're exactly going to get from A to B, C, D. You know, there are mysteries and things that come up, but usually in the sleep state, we are not resistant anymore. And so we're working things out. We're having plans and situations come to the dream state or come in that state where you wake up and you're half asleep, half awake, and you're sort of just trying to figure stuff out. I actually teach in my sleep. I teach, and I'm aware I have lucid understanding of myself teaching in the non-physical consciousness state, because that's my excitement. Like I went to bed for months going, all right, I want to know what I do when I sleep, because I know I'm doing something. Like I'm still a consciousness. What do I do? And I had awarenesses of me teaching in a non-physical state. I guess you could call it the spirit realm, whatever you want to call it. But anyone can do this. I'm not special. Like, it just depends on if someone wants to know more about, their own intuitive understandings and inclinations. They can do that just before they go to sleep. They can say, I want to know more. I want to know more in my sleep state or in my dream state or when I'm waking up. Like, I want to know more about my intuitive connection, or I want to know more about why I wake up with these fully formed ideas. You can set that forth as an intention. Then over time, if you're willing to receive the answer, you'll receive the answer somewhere.
It's a very surreal feeling. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it's just like, whoa. Like, it's even been simple things like, okay, Dave, you're going to make this podcast. It's called Dad Space. Go do it. And I go online, I check out, there's nobody has this name. I got the website, I got the domain, I've got everything. It's like, it's all done. I don't even have to come up with a name. I'm like, where did this come from? Right?
It came from you.
Yeah, it came from
you,
yeah.
Right? It came from you connecting with the ether, because every thought that's ever been thought still exists. There's energy in the ether, and we connect with it based. And as a musician, this probably makes sense to you on vibration, because there's tonal resonance, there's vibration. If you pluck a string, something in harmony resonates. Yeah. So you're essentially, by plucking a string of an idea, you're resonating, and then you're receiving the equivalent that you have yet to receive in your dream state. You wake up, you're like, okay, it's there. So you've literally like plucked the universe, in terms of a tone. You've received the answer in the form of an idea. It's all tonal resonance. It's all vibration.
I've actually done that before with two guitars and hit one string and the other string started moving. It's like, this is so cool. Yeah.
That's intuition. That's intuition. Like, it's you coming upon an idea, and then the universe going, okay, I'll give you more through intuitive hunches to be able to manifest and work with this concept and see it unfold in your physical realm.
Okay. So what kills intuition?
Nothing.
But
the doubt.
I guess, okay, then what suppresses it? What makes people say, no, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get in touch with that. Like, some people are just not interested.
Usually it's belief systems and fear.
Okay.
Usually somebody has said to them, A, that's stupid. A, that's spooky. A, that's scary. A, that, whatever, BCD, it's dangerous. Usually somebody has convinced them that it's scary, dangerous, or because even in the spiritual communities, there are people that believe that negative energy is going to attach to you, and, all of these spooky, I'm like, nah, no. And so people get conditioned to either doubt themselves because someone else has told them that's what they should do when they were little. Oh, you can't trust yourself. We get told that all the time. Parents tell their kids all the time, you can't trust you, trust me. I'm big, I'm tall, I've been around. I know what's best for you. And so, they don't trust themselves, or they've read some story that it's spooky and dangerous, and it's not. It's benevolent, it's loving, it's unconditional. There's nothing scary about it. It's only got your highest and best interest in, because it's you. It's literally you. Mm-hmm. It's an aspect of you that's non-physical. So
yeah, that's why I think, jumping back to the children's states, when children are small, their imagination is robust. They don't have limits. They don't have life things that we've experienced that tell us we can't dream or we can't go that direction. There's really no limits. So they grab an empty box, and that's the fun for the day because they can make anything out of this, right? Where adults are like more confined and detailed and structured, and stop thinking like that, stop dreaming, stop daydreaming, focus, get to work, so there just seems to be this boundless horizon for kids where there is no limit. So
they
I
don't
think as
self-doubt
adults,
like we do. Yeah, we don't. I mean, they don't self-doubt. The funny thing is when most people come to me for a conversation or coaching or whatever, they're coming from a place of having been convinced it's really difficult and really hard. And they get to me, and because I teach, the kindergarten principles of simplicity are how I teach. It's I don't buy into this highbrow kind of like holier than thou, I'm better than you, like I know more than you, explaining it on this level that nobody understands. So most people come to me and I explain it. They're like, is that easy? I'm like, yeah, it's that easy. It's not hard.
Yeah. Okay. So from your 7 simple steps, is there one that you can kind of share with us today from the book that would be?
Sure. And I'll share that when I was counseled to make that title, I wouldn't call it 7 simple steps now, because steps implies start here, finish here, get your certificate, move on. That's not at all what it is. They're actually 7 principles or lenses through which we look, students at the center, and we get to look at their life and their context through these 7 lenses. One of the 7 steps. I would say probably one of the ones that I have seen, which I got caught up in originally when I first started in personal development and self-help, is this concept called goals. Now, I don't set goals anymore. I don't put these things out there in the same frame of reference that the personal development industry sets its goals. So the 7th step is detached optimism. And so the difference between looking at something through detached optimism and setting a goal, as I was trained in it, with a goal, you set a goal. If it doesn't work, you make a bigger goal. And this constant striving for something that's always out there that you're supposed to be able to sort of prophesize and build. It's supposed to look like this. It's going to happen now. I'm going to, you're setting all this stuff up. Caused so much anxiety in me. I just had to I finally just self-imploded and left that whole, so this sort of standardized personal development is really what it is. And where the 7 steps came in, I'm like, first of all, what do I need to know? And I wanted to tap into my own intuition. I wanted to transform here and I wanted to be my authentic self. And then I'm like, well, how do I do that? How do I offer some form of structure, but not, so, tight grip on this thing that people can't have their own independence and flexibility. So I put these 7 lenses out. Detached optimism is one of them, which says, are you able to look at the things that you would like to have? To achieve, do, experience, and understand that we are misusing our imagination, to bring it back to our talk about imagination, when we think that the physical mind is supposed to be prophetic in nature. You're going to do it at this time. It's going to take this many days. It's going to look exactly like this. That's not the job of the logical mind. So we're misusing the concept of visualization a lot of times. But detached optimism said, can I be general? Can I have a general sense of what I would like to accomplish, not get all boiled up in the details to the point where I'm adding resistance to my path and fearing and fretting and doubting and, all of that stuff. Can I just be general enough to have an optimistic outlook on the possibilities that could happen? It doesn't have to look any certain way. It doesn't have to happen at any certain time. I don't have to be the sole creator of this. I can have co-creators. It can happen in, multiple different ways, which actually makes things happen faster because you're less insistent that it has to happen in one specific way.
Wow. I'm going to have to listen to this again, because that was wow, there's so much in there. My gosh.
I spent a lot of time trying to follow in other people's footsteps, which caused me failure, anxiety, self-doubt. And I just went off-roading, and I was like, we're going to do it a different way. And we're going to do it based on concepts of intuition, independence, I'm like the bumpers on the bowling alley for people. I'm like, all right, we're just gonna keep you in the lane. We're gonna softly guide you back, but you got to bowl, right? You got to keep score. You got to do it yourself because I don't have your answers. Because I spent a whole lifetime. I got a master's degree in education. I spent a lifetime thinking teacher have answer, students get answer from teacher tell you whether you're right or wrong. So I'm like, that's not the way. It's not going to happen. It causes so much doubt and anxiety for people. And it's not actually the most effective way to get to where you want to go.
Wow. What a great perspective. And the fact that you're coming from a place of knowledge as a teacher and now seeing it in this light. It's great. It's great to see the balance between the two. And now you can kind of learn from one and apply in another area. That's powerful. It's really good.
Yeah. I took what was good about standardized education, which is it has some structure to it. Right.
Yeah.
So I took what was good and I took what I knew about learning, actual learning, not just memorization, because most people are memorizing and then they're just thrown away.
Yep.
Like ask kids what they learned in high school. They're like, I don't know, I'm done. Yeah. Right. So I took what I knew about learning, independence, the benefits of structure, but all giving people sovereignty in the highest sense.
So for a listener today, Allison, before we close off, for a listener that's listening, how do I just become more aware of my intuition? How can I feed it?
You have to be aware of when things are coming through in a way that's exciting for you. That's the first step, is pay attention. And you know the difference between excitement and anxiety. There has been a lot of gaslighting for people about, no, you're actually excited. No, I'm anxious. I'm really anxious. So pay attention, discern the difference, and follow the breadcrumbs of excitement, because your intuition is working with your excitement because it's the actual signature resonance of your soul.
Perfect. That's great. So AllisonSutter.com, and the book again, Accelerate Your Mojo, 7 Simple Steps to Ignite Your Intuition, Shake Off Fear, just like Taylor Swift would say, shake it off, and unleash the real you. Allison, Thank you so much for being part of the podcast.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it. Everyone go check out the book. Go buy the book. This is great. Thank you so much, Allison. Hi, guys. This is Dave from Living the Next Chapter, a podcast designed to connect authors and audiences. We're always on the lookout for our next interview. If you're an author, a publisher, and you have a book, whether you're just starting, whether you're halfway through writing, or it's all done and you want to tell the world, that's why we're here at Living the Next Chapter. Get in touch with us through livingthenextchapter.com. Contact us, and let's set up some time together to discuss your book, to discuss your project, and how we can get you on the show. My name is Dave, and I would love to speak to you. So go to livingthenextchapter.com, and let's get over there together and discuss all the great things that you're up to as an author, as a publisher, and let's grow your audience together. Join us on livingthenextchapter.com for great authors and an audience that's eager to hear about what you're up to as an author and a publisher. Contact us today, and let's get your book out in front of others. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
Mindshift Power Podcast, the podcast for teenagers and those who work with them. There's a huge problem in America today. There's a very large disconnect between teenagers and the adults who work with them. I'm looking to bridge that gap with real, raw, honest conversation, not held back by the chains of political correctness. You cannot solve a problem you do not understand. Want to understand teenagers today? Listen to this podcast. This podcast is for teens in the U.S. and Canada. To learn more, go to fatimabay.com/podcast or just look for Mindshift Power Podcast on any listening platform. I look forward to you being a faithful listener.